Good evening and welcome. I'm very excited to see so many people out there in the chambers. I'm Kate McAllister, City Council President, and I'm very excited to introduce this program. We had initially 8 teams, literally people from all over the world who wanted to be a part of this amazing competition that's going to happen. And we are very excited. I can't wait. And I know there are a number of locals who are very excited. And the 3 teams that they narrowed it down to, they all have locals on them. So that's even more exciting to really make it have a local flavor for us. And so I just want to welcome everybody. I want to thank you for the time and energy that will be put into this. I really want to thank Dawn, who is amazing, who helped us with all of this. And of course, Jennifer and her staff. And so without further ado, I know you don't want to listen to me. I'm going to turn it over to Don Statsny, who is the head of all this competition. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Better. First of all, a very personal thanks of inviting me in to help with this competition. I've come to really love this community and also see the potential of how this community could physically develop to support the culture and arts and community that is here. We put together a design competition based on, we've kind of lost count of how many we've done, but over 70, I think, national, international competitions. And so why am I here? You know, I could be doing something with some famous people somewhere. Well, to me, you're my famous people. What we bring to this, however, is an understanding about how you build cities, how you build community, and how you put together processes that are transparent and allow the community to participate in it as well as being an observer on the side. So our overall approach to this is one that is kind of time tested in a lot of ways, but we've tailored it particularly to what we've learned here at Sandpoint about the community, both physically and culturally, and in a way psychologically about how things come together. And if I could get the block diagram up, yeah. This, I hope you can read this. We put together a 3-stage process. And the reason for doing it this way is, one, to find the very best people to take on the actual design part of the competition itself, but also to enable you all to know just exactly where we are in the process, how we might move forward, how you might put input in a structured way. We have to make sure that the teams that we have brought in professionally are treated fairly, that they all get the same information, and that we take away as many roadblocks as we can so that they're able to visualize and design what they really know. So try to take all of the politics away from it, the political stance, those types of things. We have just completed the stage 1 process. Stage 1 process, we asked for each one to give us a submittal. And the submittal was very specific as what we asked for. We do that for 2 reasons. One, so when the jury goes through these things, they're looking at apples and apples as opposed to some marketing department that gives us a volume or a book or something like that of what it is. So we asked for simple things like a letter. And within that letter, we asked for them to commit to certain things that they will agree to work with the regulations all the way through. And then we asked for their design approach in 2 pages about how they're going to go about designing the overall project. Then we asked for who's going to design it or who's going to be the players. So we asked for their team and what their team makeup is. And so each team, after reading the material we put out of the competition manual, will decide what disciplines they want to include within their overall team. And what you'll see tonight, in fact, is quite a range of disciplines that are represented on these teams themselves. So they submit this to the jury. The jury goes through and reads each one. And we give them directions as to how to do this. So we say, don't sit down and read one from cover to cover, because you'll fall asleep after the second glass of wine or beer or whatever else. And you won't give equal view of each one. So we ask them to go through and thumb through it to start with, just all that we have. Secondly, go back and read the letter of submittal, because then within that, you'll find the character of the designers and what the offices are for each one. And then the next activity is go through and read their design approach. So you're comparing apples and apples all the way through. And then finally look at the people that are part of it. Keep everything on the table to start with. And then once we meet as a jury, we start discussing what strong points the jury, individual jury members see in each one, or what the weak points might be. Then from that, we go through a discussion and narrowing process down. We always ask for the jury to go for the very best, not do something where you take the bottom up, or take the worst ones off on the bottom. We didn't have any worst ones on this one. Find the ones that we want to invite into stage 2. We received 8 submittals from all over the nation, and actually some international firms as well. And so the 3 of the 8 we had, there wasn't a loser in the bunch. I mean, any one of them could have taken on this project and done an excellent job for us. So it was finding the best of the best. And what we wanted to do tonight is let you get to know who those 3 teams are and what their approach is. We're going to use the same kind of approach we did with the jury. We're going to ask them to kind of go through and identify themselves, who they are, and their design approach about how they're going to go after this project. They will not give you solutions tonight. So if you're expecting solutions, that they won't be there. After today, as a part of this Meet Your Designer Night for you all, we met with the teams today this full afternoon, and we will meet with them again tomorrow, and also have a tour tomorrow of the site of where we're working. So we will have a day and a half of kind of immersion with the teams for them to get to know us and for them to get to know Sandpoint. Now, ideally, is we have representation or experience on every team of local folks, either local folks or people that have been a part of the activities here in Sandpoint. So we have that local element, in addition to design talent that may be either local, regional, or national. So I'm very proud of what we've been able to do so far. We are starting with this briefing into stage 2, and the diagram up here is, if you can't read it, we can get it to you online. We will have a mid-course review with each team individually about 3 weeks from now. And that will be with our technical advisory group, which are the representatives of the different departments of the city. And it will be an opportunity for each team to have a conversation, talk to those people about what individual elements they may want further information on, or clarification, or whatever else. it's much like an owner architect relationship or owner advisor relationship that would be developed. Then they will go away or the teams will go away and put together their overall final concepts. When we get those in stage 2, when we'll let Jen, when is that stage 2 and by the end of about 2 months out? Pardon? Yeah, when we
submit. End of May.
end of May.
23rd.
When we get those in, we will make them available. And well, first of all, our technical advisory group will look at them and give a evaluation, not ranking them or any way, but what they think the strong points or weak points of each one might be. That will be given to the jury as a part of the jury evaluation of what is going into it. We will have each team present to you, the public, our citizens, their concept. And you will be able to come see, the jury will be sitting there. It's the presentations to the jury, but you'll be able to observe all that going on. The jury that will then make their decision, and that will be made public as well through all this. We also, as the schemes come in, we will have public exhibit. There'll be boards. We think it'd be a combination of boards and probably electronic files you'll be able to access. And we'll ask for your comments, and those comments as well will go to the jury. So the jury will be handling a number of pieces of information coming in before they make their decision, plus the presentations themselves. At that point, once that decision is made, then we will work with one of the teams, and we will go through a workshop with a stakeholders group, with our technical advisory group, and anything that's been identified through the process, and we can tweak their scheme in such a way that we were answering some of the smaller details that we may not be able to answer prior to that. That then will evolve into eventually a overall vision and plan piece that will be presented to City Council. And again, when that comes before City Council, public will be invited and be a part of that, observing that whole thing. So there's multiple times when you all will be asked to come in and look at this thing, to help as you can, and realize that this is a plan for the people, for the community. And we hope that through the process, we'll be able to tie a lot of these different efforts that have been going on within the city together to the point that it will serve as kind of a blueprint or a roadmap for how to go forward for the next number of years to maintain the community, to maintain the values of the community, and be able to do it in a constructive fashion. So that's the overall process that we go through. It isn't a quick flash in the pan, but it is a very methodical process that we go through, which will include you all as we go through. So we will have a number of meetings like this as we go forward. With that, enough of running on by the competition manager. One thing I will say, I think I'll do that at the end. It has to do with protocols on questions and answers and things like that, and how we will handle those going forward. I would also like to introduce my associate and personally tries to keep me on an even keel, Jennifer Manhard, who is a planner, architect educated, and has worked with me the last 20 years plus as assisting me as these processes have gone together. I was her professor at one point. She came to work for me. Then she left and went to another firm, and then she hired me. And then she kind of has her own independent firm, communication.design. And we've continued to work together on projects as we've gone forward. She's a great help. And like I say, she keeps us on an even keel. With that, it is my extreme pleasure to introduce the 3 teams that we now have involved in the design competition itself. And what we've asked each one to do is give a short presentation on basically what was in their proposal, about what their approach might be, what their team's about, and that type of thing. So you get a sense of the quality of people that we have, that we all have working on this. The first team that I would like to introduce is first 40 feet. Like I said, if he didn't want to be first, he would have had another letter.
An X, right?
Besides doing it alphabetical. Will Grimm,
Thank you.
Will, go for it.
Thank you for that. We are obviously really excited about this opportunity. Thank you, Don, for all of that, and talking today with the city as well. We're really excited, and being amongst the teams here, and also amongst the 8, feel very fortunate. This is surreal because I've never been on this side of this bench. This is pretty close to me right here, so it's pretty exciting. I'm always on that side. So this is also, I'm not used to talking about myself or the team. Usually we're talking to communities about them. So this is a bit different. Also, you taught me a long time ago that in competitions, you should always break one rule. So I've done that. This presentation is not about anything. Well, it's in the proposal, but it doesn't follow the proposal because this is different. So I wanted to put that out there. Let me pull this up real quick.
You're on the clock, by the way.
I know. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you. Okay. First of all, we are not a shoe company. I get that a lot. I want to put my email up here because I want to talk to everyone. I want everyone to email me. I want everyone to know my email because this is what we are all about, talking to people. And we've already talked to many people. So even today, well, actually last night we talked to Matt at the Fat Pig. Awesome conversations. This morning I met Denise at the Misty Mountain Furniture. The Live Edge work, amazing. So spectacular. So I suggest you go buy that. Thank you, Denise. Wendy at the Carousel of Smiles. We're learning a lot. So this is sort of our thing, is talking to people. Our mission, a better city exists. Really, it happens when you talk to communities and when you see a bigger picture, when you listen more, when you strive for the best. This is how we become better. We learn from communities. And so far we've learned a ton, and I appreciate that. I appreciate what the city has given us this morning, and tomorrow will be a great day as well. So thank you for that. You're probably wondering what the name's all about. Well, we are a creative community design firm, and we feel like the most important space in any city, any town, is the first 40 feet up a building and the first 40 feet out into space, into the street. That's where we experience places, any places you go. It could be your favorite place for vacationing, or it could be just your hometown. It could be anywhere you go. That space, that dimension is really important. And to get that right, you have to zoom out. You have to zoom out and understand the layers. And in this case, there are many. and a lot of challenges and a lot of issues here. So to get this right, you have to understand the big picture, and the visioning exercise here is going to be a lot of fun. And slowly we will get down to this moment where we can understand why the first 40 feet is important. So I'm going to diverge a little bit. I want to get into communication, and we do socialize a lot. We talk to a lot of people, and I figured, well, the best place where we communicate to people is through social media. So I figured I will bring up our feed and I'll talk through what actually you could learn from us through Instagram. So you'll find that we are new. We are an emerging business, have not been around for very long, but we are very experienced, and we've done this lots and lots. And we have new ideas, and we're finding that communities are relieved to have representation. They have a group that's unbiased, that represents them. We are advocates for the public, and we work for communities. And I think that's really important and very much needed, this discipline of community design and urban design now. We are located in Old Town, Portland. Now, this is pretty significant because we want to work here because it needs help. Old Town is in distress. It's blighted, and it needs help from urban designers, from community advocates, from social services. And so we're part of those groups helping this neighborhood grow and thrive. So our location is on purpose. You'll find that we love people, and our practice is centered around people and public life and the spaces in between, and connecting people to other people. You'll find that we're curious. We love history. We love art and stories and culture. And Sandpoint has very much specific and unique cultures, histories, and stories to tell. So we want to learn more about that. You'll learn that also we are educators. We are well traveled. We have plenty of lessons learned for sure, and we want to bring that back. We want to express and share ideas that we've learned. You'll find that we believe in cities as well. Cities are at the heart of creativity and commerce and economic development. It's the place we feel like, that is needed in our societies. We are extroverts, so we do interview a lot of people. We do stop people on the street. So be careful. We love to talk. Our whole crew loves to talk and learn. So you'll find that through following us and learning about us, that we love to talk and communicate. You'll also find that we wear many hats. We speak the language of design, placemaking, economics. We're historians, we're anthropologists, we're social scientists, we're landscape architects. We are many things, and that's important to know and to have, because that's how communities are. They're complex. We love transportation and getting around. So you'll find that we want to make sure that we are all connected in many ways. Also, we like to get our hands dirty. We actually think in multiple scales. So you'll find us, doing community projects and painting the streets. We'll do a regional plan, but at the same time, we'll go and paint sunflowers in the intersections of streets. So quickly, I'm running out of time. Greenworks, an amazing collaborator. They've worked here in town. They've done some work downtown, amazing work. They know the area, they have relationships. We picked this team because they share our passion and they have shared values. And Greenworks in Portland, as you can see, has done many projects that connect people and people to water in particular. Century West, local Sandpoint engineering firm with Ryan Lutman, has been a very much advocate for this community. We've learned so much in such a limited time here. He will be on our team, making sure that we are thinking in the right way and learning about history and the things that have been done as far as transportation and infrastructure. Fair and Pierce, they've worked in the area. They're working now in the area, and they're doing a lot of studies in regards to transportation, and we're going to be learning from them. and North Root, a local architect, Reed Weber, amazing thinker, local artist, local architect, leaning on him a lot to learn about the community too. Quickly, we're doing work in Lewiston, connecting their downtown to the water. I'd love to talk more about this when we break out into sessions, but Lewiston is an amazing place, not very far away. We're doing the same thing here, creating a vision and trying to connect them to the water. Same thing for Sedona, Alaska. They actually have very similar seasonality here. They don't get a lot of sun in the winter. So trying to connect them and their downtown to the Kenai River, Kenai Peninsula, a very interesting project. Would love to talk further on that one. Vancouver Waterfront, this is something that we were involved in very early on. It's very urban. Don't get scared. It's what the city wants, what the community wants, but we were able to connect their downtown to the water as well. Same for Lake Stevens. This is another project that is very similar. Lessons learned here that we can use at this community. And lastly, the Heights. As you can see, we love to paint on the street, and we painted a master plan here so we could have community events, communicate the ideas. This one is very much about equity and inclusion and play and learning from children. Again, I will close by saying that this is very important. This is one of our directives of placemaking. It's called it's the enlist the people, and this is very much what we love to do. So we look forward to enlisting you in this project. List of challenges. This is growing, by the way. There's a lot of challenges here, and I think this is why they have chosen us and this other group, these groups, to take these challenges on and come up with something special for you. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Yep.
Could you introduce or point out that your team members that are in the audience?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, Gil with Greenworks, you want to stand up? And Reed Weber over here next to the clock, and then Ryan with Century West. And Preston's not here today, but there's lots of others that are behind this as well. So thank you.
Well, we will, after we go through these presentations, we will have these teams kind of allocated around in some different areas. So if you want to go up and talk to them and chat with them, and there'll be time to do that afterwards. The second team that I would gives me great pleasure to introduce is team GGLO and Bernardo Willis as landscape architect. And this team again comes with quite a bit of experience in different areas, but also has as a previous one has put together a support mechanism around them that is pretty extraordinary. And I think we're very proud to have them as a part of our overall process here. And Mark Siddell, I'll let you go.
Thank you.
You're on the clock.
Okay, like Will, it's kind of fun to be up here. We
I
were
know,
talking
right?
About that, yeah. And as Will just demonstrated with that nice presentation, we're just, I feel honored to be up here with this strong group of designers. So I think you've already won. Any one of these groups can do a pretty amazing job. So wanted to put out there that out there. So a little bit about GGLO and about the team. We grew up in Seattle, as I did, for the past 40 years. Focused on the realm where cities and nature meet. And we think that can be done poetically, not in a collision, which happens too often. And we've taken those lessons learned along the West Coast to a Mountain West practice that is burgeoning quite a bit, particularly the last 10 to 15 years. And out of our Boise office where this will be, we've really been bolstering that, and you'll meet some of the team in a second here. So the rest of our team, and the GGLO team is made up of architects, landscape architects, urban designers, and interior designers in really an integrated way to bring life to cities. The rest of our team, like many of our teams here, includes designers, artists, ecologists, and engineers, combination of visionary thinkers and locals with an emphasis on culture and environment. You'll hear that a lot from us, and if they could stand up, and I have the pleasure of representing this group. Go ahead, don't be shy. Many of whom you know, and many of whom have been embedded in the community for many years, and we encourage you to talk to them as we get through the more interactive part of this afterwards.
That was pretty good. Did you practice that or?
Yeah, they take a bow. So this is our design philosophy, which we think fits, but you can read this. I think one of the things that we took from the design brief, which was really well formulated in the goals, is this statement. Nature is a visual defining characteristics of the area and continually attracts new visitors and residents to Sandpoint. That's why we're here. That's why you're here. So back to nature. Let's respect it. Let's restore it, and let's bring it forward. And too often in these projects, it's the last thing that's considered. We want it to be the first thing that's considered. So that leads us to our approach, which kicks off today. And this is the exploration and research side. So we're methodical. We listen like all good folks up here do. We really are going to try to get a sense, and we've got a head start with the team on understanding culture and environment and bringing that forward. And then, of course, you all and the city and the technical advisory committee are critical in this input and collaboration, because we're going to do this. We're going to stick with it for many years, but really in the big scope of things, we're gone in an instant and it's yours. So it's ours, and it will be yours more than ours once it's done. So part of that is being of the community. So an exploration of that in our approach, and you're all partners in this, being grounded in place and being visionary yet achievable. So we have to be visionary. That's why this was put together. We've set a pretty strong expectation, but just by the notion of what this is and having you here and what we're doing tonight. So we better darn well deliver on it. We know we'll be judged in a decade or two based on what's actually out there, not on the cool stuff we talk about here. So I think that's really important. That's part of the reason we have some strong engineering capacity on our team. A little bit about our work. So the body of our work is really focused on perpetuating culture and identity and environment. And we are optimists. We know cities are growing. Cities like Sandpoint are exploding, and we think that there's an opportunity for that to perpetuate culture and identity, not diminish it. Too often it diminishes it. So that's the challenge here. Our work are transformations of former industrial sites, stagnant cities, which Sandpoint is not, so you've got a head start, and surface parking lots. Our work spans waterfronts and heavy snow mountain towns. And our work is throughout Idaho, the Mountain West, and the Northwest, up and down the West Coast, where downtowns meet natural systems and where the outcome stimulates the economy of a city. And we don't think beauty and environment and creativity and economic catalysts are at odds with each other. They all should work together. We're going to get into this much more through the process. You can read this. This is a hypothesis to kick the tires on starting to identify what some organizing problems or briefs are to solve. We heard a lot of the complexities today, so trying to weave that into something. And then there are the goals of the brief, which are really important. We've started to kick the tires on a few other things and key elements that are going to be really outcomes that will again be judged in a decade. One is increasing connectivity. Downtown and the waterfront need to be networked and woven together and with the city. We think the idea of a year-round attraction, we know this town booms in the summer and the winter. Those things need to be considered, and it's really for locals in the shoulder seasons, and that's a precious thing that needs to be embraced and not diminished. We don't want to lose that, so there's a balance there. This really has an opportunity to bring to bear the idea of a lakefront living room. There's history going back centuries of this location of this project being the living room for the city. It's kind of there. Let's bring it to its full fruition and back. Let's look at this as a resilient waterfront that can stand the test of time. And again, that is nature-based and evocative and what brings us here. And of course, let's draw from Sandpoint's history and surroundings. To that end, we like to start at the Ice Age. We don't start post-World War II or the Industrial Age. So we go back a little ways. And of course, the tribes and Native people, there are ideas and themes and important cultural nuances that should be brought to bear and considered. And then, of course, we have the 20th century, which a lot happened and we need to honor. We have the 21st century that we're in now. And then I think most importantly, the reason we do this is that we are creating history together through this process. So the next chapter we're writing. So that's daunting and exciting, and we need to take that seriously and understand that. So we're not mimicking history, we are growing and perpetuating and evolving history. So with that, we want to end with what we're going to start with, which is this question. And we have a QR code in our wherever corner we are at the end here to talk about that. So come join us. And this is a really exciting question to ask and place to start. So thank you all for the time and for honoring us. And thank you to this great group of folks who are involved with us in this.
I might point out that Mark got in under time.
I told you I was breaking rules.
I know.
I gave you a minute of my time.
Thank you.
Well, see, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it so much. And thank all of you guys for being a part of this. They bring a tremendous team to us, and both in talent, but I think also in the way that they approach a project, approach a problem going forward. Our third team that we have is headed by Skylab, by Jeff Covell and Rico Igarashi. Hard for a Czech to say Japanese names. You make a presentation on your team. Please, Jeff.
Great, thank you. We are also thrilled to be here. My name is Jeff Covell. I'm an architect. I'm the founding principal of Skylab Architecture. I'm a really avid skier and mountain biker, love mountain communities. I started coming to Sandpoint in the mid-90s on road trips to ski areas around the Northwest. And like a lot of our projects, somehow about 7 years ago, I ended up on a team with the resort to revision the mountain village and ultimately design the plazas and drop-offs and the new hotel up there. So I've been spending a lot of time in Sandpoint over the last, I guess, 6 or 7 years, and really love it here. And I'm really excited to be able to build on that experience and continue that journey. So we're going to quickly go through 5 sections here. You can go to the next. So at Skylab, we're also kind of an interdisciplinary team, architects, designers. We have people that are interested in product design and landscape architecture and development, construction. We also see this venture as like a real amalgamation of these skill sets that you gather over a long time. And ultimately, we're futurists. We're trying to envision what the right solutions are going to be for tomorrow. Our work is varied, but it starts with planning. So we're really interested in this and having the opportunity to really zoom out, look at places. Oftentimes our clients come to us and they don't actually know what the right program is for their project. Traditionally some architects, you get a program and you know how big it is, how much it's supposed to cost, and you go and you execute it. We're more engaged in a way, which is, we think we want to do this, but let's roll up our sleeves and together really try to figure out what the right ingredients are to solve this problem. We feel like the spaces in between things, buildings, removing maybe is as important of an act as creating or adding. Our work is commercial architecture, interior design, done high rises. We've done recently a building at Nike that's a 1 million square foot design studio. Cross-laminated timber projects, which is a really sustainable way of building innovatively with wood, which actually the Humbert Hotel is partially made out of that system. You can go next. And then, carrying that down through the interiors and oftentimes the branding and the education and the storytelling, and really to kind of weaving a very comprehensive picture. We like to really have a sort of eclectic mixture of ingredients in our work that's developed through research and not sort of preconceived in terms of the outcome. We like to say that we reveal the unseen for those willing to seek it, meaning that we're really looking to find those epiphanies, those sort of hidden attributes in a place or in an opportunity, and reveal them through the act of design. And the only way we can do that is with really great relationships with active partners. And so we see our clients, and in this case, the community, the city, as a really vital partner in that process. Our team is also made up of a bunch of firms. We have Skylab leading planning and design. We have Place Landscape Architects. Charles Brucker's here in the audience from Place. Place is a partner of ours on multiple projects. KPFF, Civil and Structural Engineering. Judd Williams is here on our team from KPFF. We also have PAE, who's a leading energy and mechanical design firm. Brightworks, a sustainability consultant. Eco Northwest, who is kind of looking at economic analysis. And then we have a handful of other folks that we're interested in bringing in. Some of our other projects, we've been working with some marina consultants, some urban design specific folks, et cetera. So we'll be bringing those folks into our team at the appropriate times. Our core team will be led by me and Reiko here, Nita and Jamin back in our studio. The team expands from there to these folks, which you'll be meeting over time. Our process, for us, it really starts with sort of research and engagement. So I think it's probably similarly to our cohorts here. Like we really feel like looking back and digging through history and looking at how we got where we are is a really important thing to understand in terms of trying to figure out how to, we were talking about today, like this sort of this knotted ball of yarn has been sort of created over time here. And, we're trying to figure out how to untangle it. And there's no way to do that without really understanding how we got here. But then for us, it's really about iterating. So we tend to make multiples and options and share them and get feedback and refine, and it's less of like going away and coming back and saying, here we solved the problem, here it is, and it's really much more of a negotiation and a collaborative experience. I'm going to quickly do some project examples, and then Reiko is going to quickly take over on the opportunities here. But I think probably most of you are familiar with this, but Schweitzer, when we got involved, the user experience was really problematic. The buildings had been kind of built over time. There wasn't a lot of sort of master planning done. It was really sort of piecemealed together over a period of time. And so we really came to the equation and said, okay, what's the most dramatic lever we can pull to try to knit this together, change the guest experience, try to bring charm to a village that had a lot of great attributes, but was sort of missing that pedestrian scale and that sort of kind of quaint characteristics. So we placed this new building right in the middle of what was perceived to be an important open space in order to create that character. And then highlight the lake and some of the other dramatic features and really build a sort of sense of excitement upon arrival. In Hood River, we've done a master plan and implemented the first phase of construction. So the building you're looking at here is a light industrial building. So it's a brewer, distiller, a non-alcoholic spirits company, a co-working space, just a mixture of local tenants, creative local businesses. We think that this is really the best expression of kind of where we are culturally in the Northwest, building places that'll support these types of communities. This also has a protected outdoor second story space where you can watch the kiteboarding from. And in this case, there's also a highway that disconnects downtown Hood River from the waterfront. So we came up with a plan to really help sort of stitch those together, bring people down. This is a historic industrial site, sort of navigate some of those issues, build a boardwalk in this case, and bring that vitality to the waterfront. Zidell Yards is a project in Portland that was it's led by Place. And this is also a historic shipbuilding facility. Charles worked on this extensively, and the main point in this project is this was a really important theme here, is to bring people to the water, to get them, you know, near it, on it, in it. And we actually think the same thing applies here, that when you're looking out above and onto the water, it's very different than being down in the wetlands and in the riparian zone and whatnot. And they did some really interesting things in this project, including building a aquatics facility down. That's a floating facility on the river in this case. Lewitt Park was a public park that we collaborated with a local landscape architect on in Portland, very much featuring public art. Lewitt is the native name for Mount St. Helens. And this park that we created centered around restroom facility and a picnic structure. The forms were created to kind of frame Mount St. Helens and be convertible from a picnic shelter, from a daily use, into an amphitheater and event site. So really looking for that sort of multi-purpose way to be able to use things for different uses throughout the year. And that's something we think is also very important here. You know, we were actually talking about this today and yesterday, that most ski areas like Schweitzer have the problem that they're busy in the winter and they're trying to figure out how to be busy the rest of the year. Sandpoint has the opposite, and not that, you know, not exactly, but that, you know, as busy as in the summer, and then, you know, the lake goes down and the uses go down in the winter. And we started thinking about, you know, how do you start to nestle these things together and maybe coordinate the uses. Bellingham Waterfront, this is a KPFF project. This was actually a lumber mill site, Georgia Pacific lumber mill site. It was a contaminated site, had train tracks, lots of transportation issues. They kind of sorted through all those issues and wound up a scheme that essentially brought the public back down to this place, created an active waterfront, integrated art and energy. Gonna go faster, sorry.
Get right going.
A couple more projects. Columbia wastewater treatment plant. This is something that we included because we think stormwater is really one of the most important aspects of this project. This is a project we did for the city of Portland at the wastewater treatment plant, where we created a building that really taught people about the best practices by demonstrating them in stormwater management, and really brought nature together as an active partner in the building design. And, you know, it's really difficult to tell, like particularly in this first image, where the building starts and the landscape ends. Next. And I think lastly here, Des Moines Waterfront. This is a project that KPFF, Place, and Portland have been working on for a number of years with the city of Des Moines, which is the at the southern end of the Seattle SeaTac Airport runway. And their city had been built on a bluff, and the marina is down below, and there's really no connectivity between them. And so we proposed a series of terraced ramps and steps, and actually a scheme that treats about 60 acres of stormwater runoff from the city above, which wasn't part of the project when we started, but we realized that there was this opportunity and brought that treatment down and made this a real ecological restoration project, in addition to a kind of community asset.
So my name is Reiko, and again, thank you for having us here. The next piece of this presentation, we were asked to identify issues and challenges, and we're replacing the word issues with opportunities. And I think part of my role in this project is to really get into that knitted ball of yarn and get us really tangled up, and then try to figure out how to make beautiful things out of that. And so what we did for this was really look at the goals that were set out. There were 11 goals in the RFP, and if you haven't read it, it's really well written. And so we started from that point and, started to just think about what are some opportunities here. And we could be, some of this reading could be wrong, and we'd love to hear from you if you have other opinions. And really, these are just observations that we're having at this moment. And I think goal 9, movement and access, is one that really stood out to us. There's definitely a tension between infrastructure and access. We need to weave emotional and physical connections between downtown, the waterfront. And I think really one of the key things here is that you have 3 waterfronts. You have both sides of Sand Creek, and then that you have the lake. So those are all really important things to us and opportunities that I think we can really dig into to understand more about this project. I think another opportunity is around water and history, which are goals 3 and 5. Obviously, water has sustained life here over generations. And the recreation is definitely one way that we can continue to celebrate and interconnect with that. But there's other ways too. And I think part of our interest is unraveling some of those other ways that you might be able to interconnect with water throughout time in the planning here. And then I think also in terms of history, sometimes we find that history can be in tension with the present and cloud what we see now and what might we see in the future. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be both and. We can celebrate history, we can celebrate the present, and we can also have new futures. So that's something that's really important to us and exciting about this project. And then I think goals 2 and 6 about nature and recreation. There's something really interesting here about the rhythm of life, as Jeff said, summer versus winter, and understanding there's that rhythm of the summer and the winter seasons, but there's also the everyday rhythm of people who live here. How can we continue to connect through nature and recreation year round, to the water, to the downtown spaces, to all of our emotional spaces in Sandpoint. And then I think lastly, goals 8 and 11 are about economic development and implementation. It's really important, to be able to have creative ideas around programming, because obviously there has to be a way to implement this. So I think one of our really key strengths at Skylab is being inventive around programming and thinking about things that are different and new and bringing those to the table. So I feel like continuing to innovate around those things will help the implementation that supports the values set forth in design goals. And then lastly, creating a place for everyone at the table is really important, and we'll continue to set that table through this process and invite all of you there. And I think, just thank you. We're at a table already with some really inspiring thought and people, and we're excited to be here and hope to talk to a lot of you tonight.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to give 3 stars to GGLO for being the shortest and more concise. First 40 feet, second place.
Good, there you go. Thank
You
you.
guys are laughing.
I was worried.
Although I think the message that you were getting across was kind of universal for all of them. So thank you for doing that. Thanks, Jeff. Rico. So what you've now seen the 3 teams, and I think can realize kind of the amount of talent that we're bringing towards this. And this combined with what we feel is a pretty transparent process that we'll be going through over the next few months will really deliver to you a real gift. And if we are successful, which I'm sure we will be, it will be able to chart your future for the coming years and give you a tool that can go along with the comprehensive plan as far as development, continued development, and handling the pressures that are coming on you through added population and also added attraction. It's a supreme city. And I personally want to thank you for allowing me and Jen to be a part of this operation as well. I don't know how many of you have accessed the competition manual. You can get it on the website, the city website. Competition manual is something that we put together to guide us all the way through. So once it is adopted, and it has been adopted by the city, it becomes our rule book, our roadmap going forward. Within that, you'll find a description of the problem, the design problem that we ask them to attack. You'll find the rules and regulations. You'll find the players that are a part of all this. And it's an interesting read. It's a good piece to have and to absorb. I also especially want to thank our group that we've been working very closely with, Jennifer Stapleton of the city. But we also have a group of advisors who you from Sandpoint are very, very lucky to have as a part of your staff. Christine Kuhlman, building official, Greg Lanning, utilities director, Maeve Nevins-Lavtar, parks planning and development manager, Amy Tweeten, the city planner, Heather Upton, art and historic preservation officer, Amanda Wilson, infrastructure and development services director, and of course, Jennifer, the city administration. They have been terrific. The reason I mentioned them, they were very instrumental in putting together the competition manual. So a lot of the writing, the research, the identification of issues really is a result of your city staff. Much more so than us fly-by-night consultants that come in. With that, what we had planned to do is we will adjourn the formal presentation that's here. We will have the three teams kind of gather in different parts of the city hall. I think we'll have, but do you have it figured out, Jennifer? Cassidy? Right up in this area. All in this room? Yep. Okay, so the teams would kind of go into those areas. Did you introduce all the people that are out here?
Yes.
Okay,
That's why I think so.
okay. Okay, with that, we'll get the teams out there and please interact with them.
Hey, nice to done. Good job.
Yeah, good job. The hard work.
Yeah.